Live from New York. It's the show that's celebrating in style. It's first things
Doesn't
first.
even make sense.
Well,
It does.
makes all the sense.
Be careful, Wild. Be careful.
About
I
what?
celebrated early, and you see what happened there. So just be careful. That's all I'm saying.
Today, how does Jared Goff's contract affect Dak Prescott and the Cowboys' outlook this year? Meanwhile, another slate of NFL games released. The Prince going up against Caleb and maybe Drake May. How will he perform? In jolly old London town, his home away from home. And finally, it's the best segment in all of sports. No, it's not power rankings. We've gone through this. It's Nick's Tiers, an abridged tiers with only the alive playoff teams. Alongside Chris Broussard, I'm a debonair-looking Kevin Wildes. Nick, any surprises within the tiers?
Well, I think there's going to be some controversy near the very top. I think there's going to be real debate about one of the top two teams. That's my prediction.
Well, I am interested.
Okay, good. You're missing
I'm
a
also
button.
just on better behavior.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Let me put my button. My goodness. Oh, my boastfulness popped a button. We start with, well, who could have seen this coming? Joker gets the MVP before the game and then shows everybody why during it. 47-13. Anthony Edwards was impressed. Take a listen.
I just laugh. That's all I can do. I mean, I can't be mad because he good, man. And I think I said that after game one when we won and game two. Like, he the MVP, he's the best player in the NBA. And he showed it the last three games in a row. And yeah, tonight, he was special tonight. I got to give him his flowers. It was, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what we were supposed to, yeah, he was that guy tonight.
Eek. Joker last night, 40 points, 7 rebounds, 13 assists, 0 turnovers. Shot 68%, bro. He was playing his best when the lights were the brightest. That's not true for everybody. Sometimes people like to dim the
No,
lights.
God, this doesn't make narrative sense.
Get a little music.
This is a gentleman bit.
Pour
And
yourself a cocktail.
that's why that club was out.
You know that's apple juice.
Well, a gentleman doesn't drink during the day. Brew?
This doesn't make sense.
Wow, 6 games
Certainly
is a
feels
dog
like it.
fight.
Yeah.
You're a gentleman in a dog fight. This is if they win in 6 or 7, it's a dog fight. You acting like it's a
It
gentleman.
just doesn't make sense.
I'm just acting like a gentleman. I think there's different levels of gentlemanliness.
Uh-huh.
Certainly one level, gentleman sweep, give him 1 game.
Yeah.
Are you a true gentleman? Give him 2.
Okay. All right,
Bro?
go ahead, bro.
Well, look, I picked them to win last night. I picked Denver to win last
Can I
night,
have a
so
drink
I'm
of
not
that?
surprised.
Long
Be
show.
careful, it's a
Thanks,
little
buddy.
stiff.
I appreciate it.
I do want to say something though. Is it really?
I don't know.
a gentleman's
Glenlivet? I'm not sure what it
it's
is. Go ahead, bro.
Strong Mott's.
Yeah.
You got to give props to Jokic. Anthony Edwards is exactly right. I mean, my goodness. Look, first, Aaron Gordon played, I thought, great.
Yep.
KCP hit some big shots.
I thought he hit
Yep.
twice. He hit shots when it felt like could Minnesota
Yep.
get back in it, and he hit that shot. You're like,
No,
God,
and
no.
in fact,
Yeah.
from each corner.
That's exactly
2
right.
corner threes.
Yep.
Christian Brown. There's been talk about the bench. Reggie Jackson played pretty well in the first half. Christian Brown came up with some big plays. But Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. weren't really, Jamal was okay, but they didn't put their imprint on the game. And Jokic, I mean, he did it all. He played with muscle. He played with finesse. His footwork was tremendous. He hit hook shots. He obviously has a few dunks, which is unusual for him. He hit some big threes. He destroyed the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. He just annihilated him. And Gobert had actually guarded him fairly well in the first few games of the series. So Jokic, look, and Nick, I'm going to say this. I am already doing it. Now, last year after Jokic won his first championship, I said he's the 7th greatest center ever.
Yep.
I am moving him ahead of Moses Malone.
Just on last night.
Well, I
That
mean,
was
it's
kind
just
of
he was
an
close.
accumulation.
Yep.
It was already close. I'm moving him ahead of Moses. I just think he's better. I mean, he does everything. And he's chasing Olajuwon, obviously, to get in the top 5. But he was tremendous. Denver also, great defense. They doubled Anthony Edwards. That was a nice adjustment from Michael Malone. And also, they protected the rim well. In Game 4, I was like, man, Ant can get to the rim, and there's nobody there to even dissuade him at the rim. And last night, they protected the rim really well, too. So just an all-around great performance by the Nuggets.
Go ahead, Wiles.
I was going to talk about the turnovers.
Sure.
We talked about everything else. 0 turnovers, 30 points, 10 assists, 0 turnover games. This season, including the playoffs, Joker has 4. The rest of the NBA has 4 total. And specifically, I wanted to shout this out because the turnovers were driving me batty. Last game against the Lakers, even though they won, he had 7 turnovers. First game against the Wolves, which they obviously lost, he had 7. Next game, he had 4. Last night, he had 0. So just hold on to the ball, take care of it. No free points. I feel like the Wolves thrive on turnovers, almost like an NFL team. They thrive on turnovers, get a little more energy, get a little more think we can to them. But it didn't happen, and it was just a delight.
I think that you guys almost understated how brilliant Joker was. So I'll get into that. But first, I do want to give Wilds props. Brew, he's 43% of the way to being right. So he's almost halfway to being right that no one's beating Denver in a 7-game series. They have 7 of the 16 games they have to win for you to be correct. But you are back from the brink.
Yep.
And you, to your credit, put yourself out there yesterday guaranteeing a Denver win. I thought that was foolish. And the reason it felt guaranteed in the second half was because of Nikola Jokic. And so that third quarter by Jokic was, and we can show you the numbers, and the numbers are great, but they're not historic. Like we've seen quarters like this. Sure. If you watched it, it was perfect offensive basketball. It was absolutely apex perfect offensive basketball against Rudy, who was not playing poorly. So to me, there are almost 4 main characters from this game. Jokic is obviously one of them, and it is back-to-back A-plus games in the biggest spots imaginable. And that, by the way, is how you become legendary. You mentioned Dream. There was a bit of Dream seeing the Admiral get the MVP and then hanging the 41-16, 4-3, and 2 on him. In Jokic yesterday, dropping 40, his first ever 40-point playoff win. Yeah. Typically, when he's scored like that, it's because they're undermanned or they.
Strategy.
It's been a strategy. So he was brilliant. I think coaching matters a lot, good or bad. And I think Michael Malone. That was one of the most effective technicals ever committed by a coach. It then led to 3 consecutive charges, which all were maybe good calls, 50-50 calls, but he got them all. And then you pointed out, Wilds, in the third quarter, I think it was.
Second half.
Start of the third quarter, they went from down 6, Minnesota did, to up 1. Timeout, 11-2 run, boom. So they get credit. Like coaching can impact playoff series for good or for bad. And then on the other side of it quickly. So I thought Draymond, listen, getting Draymond to critique Rudy Gobert is a little unfair, in my opinion. I don't know that he is going to be an unbiased observer on it. And he set the narrative that Gobert has to be better. For the record, Draymond only got to play Rudy once this year because he was suspended or missed the other games. Rudy had Draymond only got to play Jokic once this year, pardon me. And Jokic had 32, 16, and 16, which has only been done by 2 other guys in the history of the league. So even great players have trouble with Nikola Jokic. What I do think is fair is this. This is why some of us have stated that Gobert's value can be overstated. Because you can be the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, the best defender in the league, and utterly helpless. It is why when people say it's 50% offense, 50% defense, that might be true for teams, but for assessing individual players, it is not true. Because the great offensive players will crush you. And that is what we saw last night. And then the last person is this, it's Anthony Edwards, who, this is kind of why, unless your name is Magic Johnson or LeBron James, at this age you don't lead a team to the finals because you're not quite
Magic
ready
obviously
yet.
had
Kareem, sure,
was leading them.
But Magic was 100%. So Anthony Edwards, there has to be a little bit of criticism in that this was after a great game 4 that they lost, a game where it was in the balance, and if he would have had one of those flurries in the second half, they could have taken the lead in that third quarter.
He probably
wasn't there
I think he needed to be a little more aggressive against the double team. Now again, they defended him really well.
Out of it.
He was making the right plays, and his teammates couldn't hit shot. Early on, Nicole Alexander Walker, who played well and did Monty Morris in place of Mike Conley. But I didn't think Alexander Walker was going to be able to keep hitting those threes in the first half. He was 3 for 3 in the first half, and that was keeping them in the game. 1 for 5 in the second half, and it fell apart.
All right. Meanwhile, bruised Wolves.